that your energy has value. The man without boundaries becomes predictable. The one with quiet limits becomes irresistible. 4. Controlled communication. When you speak, slow down. Silence between words builds tension, and tension builds attraction. Don't rush to fill every gap. Let her curiosity grow in the pause. In dark psychology, this is called tactical silence, the art of using restraint to amplify presence. It's not arrogance, it's authority through control. 5. Frame reinforcement. Every woman will test your emotional frame sooner or later. When she does, remember this, she's not attacking you. She's verifying you stay still. Smile, hold your ground without hostility. If she raises her tone, lower yours. If she withdraws, don't chase. If she flirts with others, stay composed. Why? Because your calm rewires her perception. You become the center she orbits around, the grounded presence she subconsciously craves. 6. The mirror exercise. Look at yourself every morning for 30 seconds in silence. No judgment. No self-criticism, just presence. This simple act reprograms your subconscious. It teaches your mind to associate calmness with identity. Over time, you'll notice that in stressful social situations, your breathing stabilizes faster. That stability is your advantage. 7. The detachment ritual, advanced. Once a week, deliberately withdraw your attention from someone or something that feeds your ego. It could be a woman, a social media feed, even a friend's validation. The purpose isn't punishment, it's purification. You remind your brain that your value doesn't depend on external response. That's what true independence feels like. Not isolation, but emotional sovereignty. At this point in the video, pause for a moment. If you're still here, it means you're not just consuming content, you're awakening. And that's exactly what this channel is about. If this message is resonating with you, subscribe to Tin Visible Power. Join a community of men who don't chase attention. They attract it through mastery, because this is not about dating. It's about evolution. Now, let's go deeper. Every exercise, every habit, every act of control you practice isn't just for attraction, it's for power. The kind of power that can't be faked because it comes from consistency. Over time, women feel this energy, not through what you say, but through what you don't need to say. It's in your tone, your posture, your stillness. You stop performing and start embodying. When she tests you, she'll feel something shift. You're no longer seeking her approval. You're reflecting her energy back to her. And that reflection creates intrigue, respect, and curiosity, the true foundations of desire. Dark psychology, when used with consciousness, isn't darkness at all, it's clarity. It's the ability to see beneath emotion, to understand patterns, and to remain human while the world loses its balance. That's why mastering yourself is the highest form of seduction, because every woman feels the man who no longer reacts, he observes, decides but because of integrity. The vulnerability echo. When she begins to share personal stories, childhood pain, family issues, dreams, fears, she's signaling trust. Attraction without safety dies quickly. But beware. This is where emotional intelligence becomes power. Listen deeply, but don't rush to rescue her. Empathy is strength. Dependency is poison. Dale Carnegie said, "To be interesting, be interested. Show genuine attention, not solution. Let her see that your presence is enough." The subtle challenge: she teases you, corrects you, or questions your motives. Many men take this as disrespect, but in truth, she's testing your inner authority. The moment you get defensive, you lose. The moment you smile and respond with calm confidence, you win her fascination. Remember, humor under tension is the highest form of social dominance, because laughter dissolves resistance faster than logic ever could. The emotional mirror test. When she pulls away emotionally, she's not abandoning. She's reflecting your uncertainty. If your energy shifts, hers follows. If you stay composed, she re-engages. This is the deepest level of attraction, emotional polarity. Aldous Huxley wrote, "Experience is not what happens to a man, but what a man does with what happens to him. In attraction, what happens doesn't define you. Your reaction does." All these signs share one thing in common: They are subtle filters of power. She doesn't want perfection, she wants coherence. A man who says what he means, does what he says, and doesn't break when things become uncertain. Because in the dance between masculine and feminine psychology, the energy that stays centered becomes the one that leads, and the one that leads creates attraction without effort. Dark psychology isn't manipulation, it's awareness. It's understanding that people act out their fears more often than their desires, and when you learn to read that fear and with empathy and calm control, you stop being played by it. So when the next woman sends mixed signals, don't rush to decode them. Watch, observe the patterns, and remember, she's not testing to hurt you, she's testing to find you. Knowledge means nothing if you can't apply it. Understanding attraction is only the beginning, the true transformation starts when you embody it, when your calm becomes natural, when your silence carries authority, when your energy speaks before you open your mouth. Here's the truth most men ignore. Attraction isn't created in the moment you meet her. It's built long before, in your daily habits, in your emotional discipline, in the way you treat your own mind. You can't fake presence. You can't imitate inner power. You can't pretend calm when your thoughts are chaos. That's why most dating advice fails. It tells you what to do, but never who to become. If you want to apply dark psychology ethically, you must start by turning it inward. The goal is not to control others, it's to understand how easily you can be controlled by your own impulses. When you master that, people feel it, women sense it, your calm becomes contagious. Let's break down the process, not as manipulation, but as transformation. 1. Emotional detachment practice every day. Put yourself in small discomforts. Silence your phone for hours, wait before replying. Walk slower than your anxiety wants you to. This conditions your nervous system to stay calm when uncertainty appears, the same calmness that women read as confidence. When you delay reaction, you train control, and control is the purest form of masculine magnetism. 2. Observation training. Stop listening just to respond. Start observing. In every interaction, with friends, co-workers, strangers, pay attention to tone, rhythm, micro-reactions. You'll begin to see what others miss. When you can read people, you don't chase validation. You anticipate reality. As Robert Cialdini said, power belongs to those who understand the triggers of human behavior. When you master observation, you no longer need to impress. You simply know attraction isn't a game, it's a mirror. And most men spend their lives chasing reflections that vanish the moment they reach for them. You were never meant to beg for attention. You were meant to become the kind of presence that commands it, quietly, effortlessly, naturally, because attraction is not about beauty, status, or words. It's about energy, the kind that says, I'm complete, with or without you. Let's be honest, most of what you've been taught about women is wrong. You were told to please, to compliment, to prove. But that's not how polarity works. The feminine doesn't crave perfection, it craves certainty. It's drawn to a man who can hold chaos without losing himself. That's why when you lose control, when you over-explain, when you try to win her approval, something in her fades, not because she's cruel, but because her instincts whisper, he's not safe, not physically, emotionally, and safety, to a woman's heart, is everything. But here's the paradox. At the moment you stop seeking her validation, you give her what she's unconsciously searching for. A man who leads himself, a man who doesn't need to dominate, because he already owns his world, internally. That's where attraction transforms into connection. Dark psychology teaches that every human seeks influence, consciously or not, but when you operate from awareness instead of need, your influence becomes magnetic, not manipulative, because energy doesn't lie. You can't fake self-worth, you can't imitate calm, you either are or you aren't. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That's the essence of everything we've explored here. Stop decoding every signal she sends and start embodying the signal yourself. When you walk into a room with presence, you don't have to prove attraction. You become its center. Think about it. The woman who once ignored you suddenly becomes curious. The one who seemed out of reach starts to linger around your silence. And the same world that used to drain your confidence now mirrors it back amplified. Why? Because you finally understood the fundamental law of attraction. You attract what you are able to remain calm about. This is the final test, not of dominance, not of manipulation, but of self-command. The world doesn't need more men who chase validation. It needs men who radiate clarity, restraint, and grounded emotion. Men whose peace cannot be bought or shaken. And if you ever wonder whether she still thinks of you, whether she misses you, whether she'll come back, stop. Because the moment you start to wonder, you've already placed your power outside of you again. She doesn't return because you chase. She returns when your silence becomes louder than your words, when your energy stops asking and starts declaring, I'm still here, whole, calm, unmoved. That's the quiet dominance women feel but can't explain. It's not arrogance, it's alignment, the union between control and surrender. You don't try to be mysterious. You simply no longer explain yourself. You don't play hard to get. You just are, and that's the truth most men never reach. You don't win women, you win yourself. Once you do, the rest is gravity. So here's your challenge, your final test for the next 7 days. Say less, observe more, don't seek attention. Earn silence, let every word, every pause, every glance carry intention. Train your energy to say what words cannot. Because when you master this, you don't chase attraction, you create it, effortlessly, invisibly, permanently. Welcome to invisible power, where the strongest energy is the one that doesn't need to prove it exists. 3. Boundary ritual every day. Say no to something small, a distraction, a demand, a request that doesn't align with your path. Boundaries are not walls, they're filters. They teach others. There's nothing more painful than realizing she was interested after she's already gone. The truth? She gave you the signs. You just never learned to see them. Welcome back to Invisible Power. This channel isn't about tricks, manipulation, or fake confidence. It's about awakening the awareness that most men never develop, the one that lets you see through words, through masks, through the invisible energy behind attraction. Most men think a woman will say what she feels, that she'll confess it, make it clear, maybe even take the first step. But that's not how attraction works. Women move in silence. They don't announce interest. They reveal it through gestures, tone shifts, and subtle emotional tests designed to expose who you really are beneath your facade. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Women rarely chase, but they constantly test. They test your patience, your energy, your sense of worth. Not to hurt you, but to see if you're real. Because attraction isn't about looks or words. It's about how grounded you remain when uncertainty enters the room, and when you fail those tests, when you overreact, over-explain or try to please, the attraction dies quietly. Not because she stopped feeling, but because she stopped trusting your frame. You see, women are biologically wired to seek emotional strength. They want a man who can absorb intensity without collapsing under it. That's why she withdraws when you push, and gets closer when you hold your silence. It's not a game. It's instinct. Seneca once said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." That principle applies to attraction too. The man who pauses, who observes before reacting, who doesn't let emotion hijack his mind, that man becomes magnetic, because calm is rare. And rarity is power. In Invisible Power, we explore this intersection between philosophy and dark psychology. How control, perception, and emotional awareness shape desire more than any physical trait ever could. Epictetus taught that what disturbs us is not what others do, but how we interpret it. When she ignores your message, it's not rejection, it's a mirror. She's watching what you'll project, need or discipline, anxiety or composure. Every silence is an X-ray of your self-worth. The men who pass her tests are not those who play games. They're the ones who mastered detachment. They observe instead of chase, they understand. That control is not about domination. It's about regulation, of emotion, of reaction, of presence. Robert Greene wrote, "The one who can stay still when others are agitated holds true power," and that's what women feel. Even if they can't explain it, it's not the words you say, it's the energy behind them, the stillness that makes her nervous, the calm that forces her to reflect. You might think she wants excitement, intensity, endless attention, but what truly draws her in is certainty, certainty in yourself, in your direction, in your silence, because silence is magnetic when it's grounded in confidence. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. When you grasp this, every interaction changes. You stop chasing closure, you stop seeking approval, you start commanding respect without ever asking for it. That's the paradox of attraction. The less you try to be liked, the more compelling you become, because you've stopped negotiating your value. You've stepped into the state every woman subconsciously tests for, emotional dominance. And yet, this isn't about control over her. It's about mastery over yourself. Because attraction isn't manipulation, it's resonance, the silent synchronization between a man grounded in his essence and a woman drawn to that stability. So if you've ever lost someone because you didn't see the signs, if you've ever looked back and realized she was giving you clues the whole time, understand this, she wasn't trying to confuse you, she was waiting for you to see her differently. And the moment you start to understand these invisible dynamics, the subtle psychology behind desire and the silent philosophy behind power, you'll stop regretting what you missed and start attracting what you truly deserve. Every woman has two conversations with you, one that comes from her mouth and another that comes from her subconscious. The first one is polite, social, predictable. The second one feels raw, biological, and uncontrollable. It's the one you have to learn to read. When a woman is truly drawn to you, her body betrays her composure. She might keep a calm tone, but her eyes dilate. Her breathing slows down for just a second when you look at her. Her feet point toward you even when her head doesn't. These are the unspoken yeses hidden in the language of resistance. Psychologist Paul Ekman discovered that micro-expressions last less than half a second, yet they reveal more than words ever could. Flash of surprise when you enter the room, a suppressed smile when you speak, small tension around the lips when you hold eye contact. Each one is a message from the unconscious, and if you learn to observe without judgment, you begin to hear what isn't said. But attraction is never just sweetness and smiles, it's also conflict, because every woman who feels something for you will eventually test your emotional strength. These tests are not games, they are filters. She wants to know, can you hold your frame when she pulls away? Can you remain centered when she provokes you? Can you handle her intensity without collapsing? Most men fail these moments. They chase, they argue, they explain, and in doing so, they reveal dependency. But the man who understands psychologia oscura knows something different. Attraction grows in uncertainty, and respect is born in silence. Let's break down 7 invisible behaviors women display when they're truly attracted, and the mindset you need to interpret them correctly. The distance test. She suddenly becomes colder, quieter, or slower to respond. Your instinct tells you she's losing interest. In reality, she's creating space to measure your stability. If you panic, she loses respect. If you stay grounded, she feels your strength. She's not rejecting you, she's calibrating your emotional power. Stoic principle. Control begins when reaction ends. In these moments, do nothing. Your stillness speaks louder than any message you could send. The attention shift she diverts her focus to another man or topic when you're around. It's not always about jealousy, it's about hierarchy. She's observing how you handle competition. Will you crumble, get defensive, or simply smile, showing unshaken confidence? When you stay composed, she feels safe, because true masculinity isn't aggression, it's calm control under pressure. Robert Greene called this the law of seductive patience. Power doesn't rush. Power watches are the mirror behavior. She starts imitating your movements, touching her neck when you adjust your collar, matching your speech rhythm, or mirroring your expressions. This is the subconscious alignment of attraction. It's the mind's way of saying, I feel connected, yet most men ignore it completely. Psychologist Kevin Dutton explains this as cognitive resonance, where emotional energy synchronizes without intention. If you see this, don't comment on it. Just slow your pace and lead the rhythm. You've already captured her subconscious. The frame disruption. She suddenly disagrees with you on something trivial, This isn't confrontation, it's curiosity. She wants to see if you defend your beliefs or fold to please her. Most men surrender instantly, hoping to seem nice, but niceness without backbone is weakness disguised as virtue. When you stand firm, calmly, and respectfully, you trigger attraction at a primal level. Niccolo Machiavelli wrote, "Men should either be treated kindly or destroyed." Women subconsciously respect the man who holds his